We've been speaking about how to actualize an idea through a process, doing and not doing, beginnings and intentions. I wanted to spend this video speaking briefly about the nature of work, because definitions are important. And one thing I think we are bereft of in our modern lives is the basis of definitions, the foundations upon which to build. Rarely do we think about the meaning of a thing before we embark upon that thing. How many of us have sat down to think, okay, well, I want to work towards some idea, work towards something, but what is work to begin with? Well, in this video, I plan to give a short meditation on that using some ancient wisdom of the Arabic language. In the Arabic language, the word for work is amal, amala. That's related to the idea of ilm. So you have amala, alama. You swap two letters around. So these two words, amal, work, and ilm, knowledge, are intrinsically interrelated. You can't have one without the other. So now, work is immediately contrasted with the idea of mere action. Action is just a doing, without necessarily having knowledge tied into it. Work, however, is always built upon a foundation of knowledge. Work has an intention, work has an idea, which it's impressing upon some surface. If I just, let's say I get a brush or something and splash ink onto a page, that's just an action. But now if I have an idea, a vision of a beautiful piece of artwork, which I then systematically seek to impose upon this material surface, I seek to work onto the piece of paper, that's work. So we only call a thing work to begin with when there is an idea which I'm working towards. That's the definition which we're going to take. Now, how does that help us? Well, it informs what the process of work actually should be like. First and foremost, we begin with that intention in absolute crystalline clarity, and I spoke about this in my previous videos, where I was speaking about how to actually bring an idea forward. It's through the process of work, which begins with ilm. Amal begins with ilm, knowledge, the pure vision of the idea in our inmost consciousness. We begin with that intention. And I spoke about, when that intention, when the idea reaches its utmost state of crystallization and clarity, it naturally begins to effloresce and give itself forth. When it's not about doing as much as it is about not doing. The not doing is structuring the actions which proceed forth from the idea. Those actions are going to be work as long as they truly emanate from the idea and proceed along its lines of manifestation. So what do we do? If we're beginning with the idea, the next thing to do is to constantly remember the idea. That is step one, truly bring the idea to a state of culmination, perfection, crystallization. Step two, continuously remember the idea, reorient yourself towards the idea, so to allow the process of work, the process of actualization, to occur naturally and fluidly and seamlessly and continuously. And that's the reason why, most people start a project, but they don't finish it. Why? For two main reasons. Firstly, the idea wasn't actually clear enough to begin with, when the work naturally just fizzled out because, the end idea, and I said that, what is first in principle, the idea, is last in manifestation. What you intend to be, the final thing you intend, is that which comes about last through this process of activity and work. If that first idea wasn't, truly right to begin with, well, there is no end in sight, in which case it's just going to fizzle out and it's not going to work. That's the first way where most people fail. But even if you have the idea perfectly planned, in the second failure is not orienting yourself to it clearly enough. Because you can divert, like I said, it's not about doing, it's about not doing. If you don't really structure your acts and your intentions, you can easily divert off course by becoming distracted. To that end, we have to continuously remember the idea, constantly recall it and repurpose it. So to remind ourselves that this work is a work and it's not a mere action.